In this lesson, we are going to discuss philosophy called Advaita. We are going to examine Advaita in the light of what Damasio proposed regarding consciousness. Okay. We will first revise Damasio's ideas. Next, we will explain Ramesh Balsekar's views on Advaita. And then we will explain certain Sanskrit terms. So let us first review what Damasio is saying. What we discussed was there was body, mind, our brain, and it is from this arrangement of brain, body, consciousness is emerging. Okay. This is one very important issue. It is like this. Brain is coming from the body. That is the first thing. What is meant by brain coming from the body? In the sense that the brain, as brain, is body mapped, result of the body. For example, Delhi can be a city by itself. Like brain physically can be a brain by itself. But Delhi cannot be a capital of India when India is not there. Capital is the relationship of Delhi with what is outside Delhi. So, brain is not what it is. Brain is simply the body mapped. So brain is coming from the body, mind is coming from the body, brain, or nervous system. Body, brain, mind, all under certain circumstances are generating consciousness. That is to say, body, mind is producing consciousness. This has sweeping implications to Indian philosophy. Just this proposal makes entire spirituality, Buddhism, Jainism, Hinduism, enlightened, unenlightened, wrong. Because no enlightened person has said the consciousness is generated from body-mind. Okay, but Damasio is saying this. Consciousness is generated from body-mind. What does it mean? Consciousness, it means, is a, like body-mind, consciousness is also material process. Material process. Consciousness dies when body-mind dies. Consciousness is not immortal. Consciousness is coming from body mind. Consciousness is not immortal. It is a material process. Okay. No person has said this other than Damasio, at least from the spiritual side. Okay. Now, let us apply this understanding to Advaita. Advaita is definitely the highest thing that Hinduism offered, or the highest that Indian spirituality had to offer. What is that? Advaita is. We are taking an account which is put forward in a much more elegant way by Ramesh Balsekar. Ramesh Balsekar is a close student of Nisargadatta, and he also knows Ramana Maharshi well. So very, very well informed, and who has strong views on enlightenment process itself. He is an Advaita philosopher. So let us explain things in his own words. Ramesh says, there is individual consciousness. There is individual consciousness. And there is body mind. Okay. He knows that individual consciousness got entangled in body mind. And body mind is a separate entity. Body mind is a separate entity. Individual consciousness got entangled with body mind. So, this entire thing became separate. Okay. And he says, this individual consciousness is nothing but manifestation of universal consciousness. Universal consciousness is manifested in individual consciousness, entangled with body and mind, got separated. And to him, enlightenment means individual consciousness freeing up from identification with body mind. And when individual consciousness is freed up, then it recognizes that it is a manifestation of universal consciousness. That is how disidentification leads to merger with something higher. So, he would say the idea that we are separate is supposed to be an illusion. The idea that we are not separate and we are an expression of universal consciousness is supposed to be an enlightenment. Very interesting. Being a student of Nisargadatta, you can take him as probably giving the best statement on Advaita. He is not a scholar, he himself is a realized person. So, we can take Ramesh Balsekar as the best spokesperson of Advaita and analyze this. Point is, the problem with this is, there is something like universal consciousness. How do we know this? And then, universal consciousness is expressed, manifested in individual consciousness. How do we know this? Okay? So, the idea that there is a universal consciousness, it is manifested. Why all this? To me, this spirituality came as a result of previous things of belief in God. There is one God. God is expressed in every life form. Okay? Or God is there in everybody. So, God was there in everybody. That thing as a hangover came to consciousness. God replaced with universal consciousness, and then his manifestation, individual consciousness, all this. So, if you go by Damasio's idea that the consciousness is generated from the mind body, this is not true. This is not true. Okay. So, does it mean Advaita is wrong, or Advaita is not really profound? It is not like that. Advaita is profound, but the profoundness is not because of what is the origin, whether there is something or connections. The profoundness of Advaita is disidentification of consciousness with body-mind. One doesn't identify himself with one's body-mind. That is the profundity in Advaita. Whether he thinks that he is God's consciousness or manifestation, these are immaterial. Okay. So, many of the concepts. Now let us look at Sanskrit words. There is supposed to be an Atman, body, mind, and there is Brahman. Brahman is related to world consciousness, Atman, individual consciousness, and then body, mind. And this Atman is immortal, and it picks up karmas and decides or influences next life. All these things can be completely rejected. Nothing like Atman, immortality, karma, carrying, Brahman. No Atman, no Brahman, no soul, no karma. Okay. I don't think, of course, there is no God. So many concepts that Advaita gives are unscientific, unnecessary, but profoundly significant issue that Advaita gives is one is not the body-mind. Okay. One is not the body-mind. That has enormous implications because that disidentification can make one's own mind or can shrink one's own mind to a small corner in the consciousness, and that can enhance one's consciousness, and mind will not rule a person. So, Advaita is indeed profound. As Vivekananda said, it is the fairest flower that any nation at any age gave to the world. There is no doubt about it. But the beauty is not in Atman, Brahman, immortality, karma, not all these things. But the disidentification with the mind and body. So, we are, by removing these unscientific concepts, we are not belittling Advaita. We are in fact making Advaita closer to realization of people. Thank you.